Hello and welcome back to our learning journey. Today we are focusing on the B1 intermediate level. I'm so glad you are here. First, let me ask you a question. What if the worst mistake of your life was actually the best thing that ever happened to you? Let me know in the comments below. Today we will explore a beautiful story about making the wrong choice. Before we begin, here is your quick study guide to get the most out of this lesson. First, just listen to my voice without subtitles. Close your eyes and focus on the feeling of the story. Try to paint a picture in your mind. Second, turn the subtitles on and read along with me. Look closely at the new words. Third, pause the video and practice speaking the sentences out loud. Copy my rhythm, copy my emotion. This is how you learn naturally. You do not need boring textbooks. You do not need painful grammar drills. You just need a good story. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The Perfect Plan. Maya was a woman who loved plans. She loved lists. She loved schedules. Every morning, she woke up at exactly 6 o'clock. She drank exactly 1 cup of black coffee. She wore a neat grey suit. Maya worked in a very tall, very cold glass building in the center of the city. She was an accountant. She worked with numbers all day long. Numbers were safe. Numbers always made sense. They never surprised her. Today was the most important day of her career. She was going to a big interview for a major promotion. If she got this new job, she would make more money. She would get a bigger office. Her parents would be very proud. Her friends would be very jealous. Maya had every detail planned. She had her tickets ready. She knew which train to take. But deep inside, Maya felt very tired. She looked in the mirror. She did not smile. She grabbed her heavy briefcase. She walked out the door. The wind outside was cold and sharp. People were rushing past her. Nobody looked at each other. Everyone was looking down at their phones. Maya walked quickly. She wanted to reach the train station early. She told herself she was happy. She told herself this was what she wanted. But her heart was quiet. Her heart was sleeping. Chapter 2. The Train Station. The train station was a giant ocean of people. The noise was incredibly loud. There were thousands of voices talking at once. There were announcements booming from the speakers. The lights were flashing brightly. Maya looked around and felt completely overwhelmed. The situation was too much for her mind to handle. She took a deep breath because she felt so overwhelmed by the noisy crowds. She checked her watch. She had only 5 minutes to catch her train. Track number 4. She started to run. She pushed past a man with a large suitcase. She rushed down the stairs. The station was a maze. She saw a train waiting at track number 9. Wait, was it track 4 or track 9? The numbers on the screen were changing so fast. She felt a sudden panic. She was usually so careful. She looked at the train doors. They were about to close. She felt her feet pause. She started to hesitate. Should she get on? She did not know if this was the right choice, so she continued to hesitate. A guard blew a loud whistle. She could not hesitate any longer. She jumped onto the train just as the doors shut tightly behind her. Maya found an empty seat and sat down. She was breathing heavily. She smoothed her grey suit. She looked out the window. The train started to move. It moved faster and faster. The tall grey buildings of the city began to disappear. Maya closed her eyes. She felt safe again. She thought she was on her way to the perfect future. Chapter 3. The Unknown City. 1 hour later, the train started to slow down. Maya opened her eyes. She looked out the window and expected to see tall office buildings. Instead, she saw green hills. She saw small, colorful houses. She saw trees filled with pink flowers. This was not the financial district. Maya stood up quickly. Her heart beat fast. She walked up to a train worker. "Excuse me," she said, "where are we going?" The worker looked at her ticket. "Oh, miss," he said gently, "you are on the wrong train. You are heading to the small town of Willow Creek." Maya stared at him. She thought he was joking. This must be a simple error, a clear misunderstanding. Two people just not understanding each other. But there was no misunderstanding. The ticket in her hand was for a different train entirely. She had made a terrible mistake. She felt that familiar heavy feeling in her chest. She was going to miss her interview. Her perfect plan was ruined. She felt completely overwhelmed again. The reality of her mistake was simply too heavy to carry. The train finally stopped at a tiny wooden station. Maya stepped off the train. The air here smelled completely different. It smelled like fresh rain and sweet pine trees. There were no busy crowds. There were no angry people looking at their phones. There was just silence. A gentle, peaceful silence. Maya sat on a wooden bench. She put her head in her hands. "What am I going to do?" she whispered to herself. She had taken the wrong path. Everyone in her life would say she made the wrong choice. Chapter 4. The Old Bakery. Maya decided to walk into the small town. She needed to find a phone. She needed to call her boss. As she walked down the narrow street, she noticed the brightly painted doors. Red, yellow, and blue. People sitting on their porches smiled and waved at her. Maya did not know how to react. In the big city, nobody ever waved. She felt her hand hesitate before she slowly waved back. It felt strange to connect with strangers, causing her to hesitate once more. Suddenly a wonderful smell filled the air. It was the warm, rich smell of fresh bread and melting butter. Maya had not eaten breakfast. Her stomach made a loud noise. She followed the delicious smell until she stood in front of a small shop. The sign above the door said Arthur's Bakery. She walked inside. A little bell rang softly. The shop was warm and cozy. An old man with flour on his apron was pulling hot bread from the oven. "Welcome," he said with a bright smile. "You look like you need a warm roll." Maya nodded. She bought a simple piece of bread. She took a bite. The taste was incredible. It was soft, sweet, and made with absolute care. Maya closed her eyes. For the first time in years, she felt truly awake. The old man, Arthur, poured her a cup of tea. "You look a bit lost, my friend," Arthur said kindly. Maya explained her situation. She explained the missed train, the big interview, and her ruined plans. She expected Arthur to tell her how to get back quickly. Instead, Arthur laughed softly. "Sometimes," he said, "the train you were not supposed to catch takes you exactly where you need to be." Chapter 5. The Phone Call. Maya finally borrowed Arthur's old telephone. She dialed the number of her office in the city. Her boss answered. He was very angry. Maya explained that she got on the wrong train. Her boss yelled loudly. He told her she was irresponsible. He told her she was throwing away her future. He said her actions would have serious consequences. Maya tried to explain the confusion, but he thought it was just a silly excuse, another frustrating misunderstanding. He would not listen to her side of the misunderstanding. He simply hung up the phone. Maya held the silent phone in her hand. Her parents had always told her to climb the ladder of success. Her teachers had always told her to work in a big office. Suddenly, the weight of their expectations felt too heavy. She looked around the bakery. She saw Arthur carefully placing strawberry jams on the shelves. He worked slowly. He worked with love. There was no stress in his eyes. There was only peace. Maya realized something huge. She hated her job in the city. She hated the grey suits. She hated the cold numbers. She had only wanted that promotion to please other people. She was living someone else's dream. Now she was standing in a strange town with no job and no plan. It was terrifying. She felt a wave of fear wash over her, leaving her feeling extremely overwhelmed. To have your whole life fall apart in one morning is an overwhelmed state to be in. But underneath that fear there was a tiny spark of joy. A small voice inside her whispered that maybe, just maybe, this mistake was a hidden gift. Maybe this strange town was part of her life's true path, her meant-to-be destiny. Chapter 6. The Great Decision. Arthur noticed her silent tears. He handed her a clean napkin. "Life is too short to bake bad bread," he said, "and life is too short to work a job that makes your heart cry." Arthur told Maya that his assistant was moving away next week. He needed someone to help him run the bakery. He needed someone who was good with numbers to manage the shop, but who also wanted to learn how to bake. Maya felt her heart skip a beat. Could she do this? Could she leave her old life behind? She started to hesitate for the final time. It is completely normal to hesitate before jumping into a brand new life. But then she looked at the warm oven. She remembered the cold wind of the city. She decided she was done with fear. She decided she was ready to enthusiastically accept this new reality. She was ready to embrace the unknown path before her. When you open your arms and embrace your fears, they lose their power. Maya smiled at Arthur. "I would love to learn how to bake," she said. Arthur smiled back. "That is wonderful news," he replied. Maya walked outside and looked at the pink trees. She felt a deep sense of magic, a strong feeling that this was her true destiny. Yes, her destiny had been waiting for her right here in this tiny town. She did not need to search the stars to find her destiny. Chapter 7. A Beautiful Life. 5 years later, Maya is the proud owner of Arthur's bakery. Arthur still visits every morning to drink tea and tell stories. Maya does not wear grey suits anymore. She wears flower-covered aprons. She wakes up early not because an alarm clock forces her to, but because she loves the smell of the morning air. Her hands are strong, her heart is light. Sometimes her old friends from the city come to visit her. They look at her peaceful face, they taste her incredible cakes, they finally understand. In the beginning, everybody said her mistake was a complete disaster. They said getting on the wrong train was a terrible choice. They thought her joy was just a temporary illusion, a sad misunderstanding. But they were wrong. It was the best misunderstanding of her entire life. It saved her soul. Maya looks back at that stressful morning at the train station. She remembers feeling so confused. She remembers the panic that made her feel so overwhelmed. But now she only feels pure gratitude. She is so glad she did not run back to the city. She is so glad she chose to happily accept her new life. She chose to embrace the quiet beauty of Willow Creek. She chose to embrace her own happiness. The next time you make a mistake, do not panic. Do not cry over ruined plans. The wrong choice might just be the universe guiding you to a better place. It might just be the exact push you need to find your true destiny. Yes, sometimes your beautiful destiny is hiding right behind the wrong door. Sometimes the best decisions in life look like terrible mistakes at first. You have to trust the journey and keep moving forward. If you want to hear another incredible true story about someone who followed their own path against all odds, click the video on your screen right now called The Boy Who Built a Windmill. I will see you there.